The wait is over. I finally got to watch Star Wars The Force Awakens. Even though here in Jamaica we had to wait a couple days longer than the rest of the world, I finally got to watch Star Wars The Force Awakens. Oh crap, where are my manners? Welcome to episode 4 of the jaPODCAST, a monthly podcast combining topics related to Japan, Jamaica, anime, video games, travel, blogging, the Japanese language, and more. Through its various features, discussions, and interviews, the podcast aims to educate and entertain its listeners. I am your host, Kirk, from Jamaipanese.com. This episode is being recorded on Sunday, December 27th in the year 2015 in a downed Imperial Star Destroyer on the planet Jakku. If you haven't figured it out yet, the topic of today's episode is Star Wars The Force Awakens. Unsurprisingly, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't already watched the movie, minus 5 geek points from your stats and add plus 10 shame. Episode 4 of the jaPODCAST begins now. On December 23rd, 2015, a group of us descended upon the Carib 5 in Crossroads, Jamaica to watch the first showing of Star Wars The Force Awakens in Jamaica. Yes, I'm still butthurt about having to wait 5 extra days to watch the movie, but sadly I'm not force sensitive and thus unable to force choke the management of Palace Amusement Company. From the opening crawl, I partook in the mass geekgasm that erupted in the theater, as almost everyone howled at the screen for a few seconds, then quickly hushed to absorb the movie. Fast forward to the end, and as the closing credits rolled, I breathed a sigh of relief as I felt satisfied that the movie didn't fall under the weight of expectation, but instead was a solid B, if my movie ratings carried any weight. Like most geeks, I found a few things wrong with the movie, so why not get some of those out of the way first? In the interest of time and not having you listening to me babbling for the next 86 hours, I'll stick to 3. First up, I think they played it very safe. They only showed iconic Star Wars meat, but left out the potatoes. What do I mean? It's like a Disney exec had a list of iconic things Star Wars is known for, and checked them all off before greenlighting this movie. Desert planet, check. Forested planet, check. Ice planet, check. X-Wings, TIE fighters, and a sexy Star Destroyer, check. Death Star 3.0, etc., etc. You get the point. This movie had more than a few fingers in the past, but left out the not so popular stuff. But while they'll get away with it with this movie, I look forward to see how the next films will be. Secondly, I am not sold on the new cast and characters yet. I mentioned this in my spoiler-free blog post, but while many are singing the praises of the new kids, Daisy Ridley as Rey, John Boyega as Finn, Adam Driver as Kylo, Rey seemed to fortuitously float through the movie, being one up on every situation she found herself in. Finn needs some serious flesh on his character's bones and suffered from some forced acting, I think, in some scenes. Kylo was, I guess, the better of the 3, but shouldn't have removed his mask before the scene with Han Solo on Starkiller Base. Thirdly, I wanted more Phasma. Gwendoline Christie is the Brienne to my Tarth. I'm a fan of hers from the Game of Thrones, and her being cast as Phasma was very exciting. What did we get from her in the first movie? A few scenes where she menacingly walks around, one scene where she barks at Finn, and one scene where she's slapped around in her armor and forced to release the sheets to Starkiller Base. That's it. Yeah. That scene where that already forgotten stormtrooper squares off with Finn wielding a lightsaber should have been Phasma's scene. I am not a director, but it would have been far more memorable and iconic if it was Phasma. Okay, as promised, I'll stop my whining, list of things I don't like about the movie there, and switch gears to 3 things I liked about Star Wars The Force Awakens. The first thing I liked was the fact that Luke Skywalker's appearance was very limited. Many complained about the tiny cameo of sorts that Luke made, but I'm very happy that his screen time was extremely limited. The dude is the focal point of the entire Star Wars saga. I'm glad we weren't overdosed with Skywalker in the first movie, and this sets him up nicely to be to make a more profound appearance in the second or even third films. A part of me feels like he will be killed or sacrifice himself for some reason, some Jedi thingy at some point, but that's just me speculating. Second thing I liked about the movie was the spaceship scenes and battles. Some people enjoy Star Wars for different reasons. For me, a big part of Star Wars is spaceship battles, and trust me, The Force Awakens didn't disappoint. I am hard pressed to find my favorite one from the bunch, but I screamed, in my mind of course, every time I saw a TIE fighter on screen. My third good thing about this movie that I liked was, believe it or not, Han Solo's death scene. Iconic scenes are also what makes Star Wars special, and for me, that scene in The Force Awakens was the with the confrontation between Han Solo and his son Ben, now Kylo Ren, as the Starkiller base was feasting on a star, and Ren, Chewie, and Finn looked on. The light, then the darkness, the death, the raging Wookiee, and the traumatized newbies all made that scene special and set things up nicely for the showdown between Kylo, Ren, and Finn. In conclusion, Star Wars The Force Awakens turned out to be better than many thought it would have been. It had its weaknesses and its strong points and set things up great for the second movie in what will be a trilogy. What are your thoughts on the movie? Tweet me at Jamaipanese or leave a comment below. This is Kirk signing out, reminding you that C-3PO is in the movie. You might not recognize him because of his red arm. May the Force be with you.